I believe you can see that Excel sheet. Now this is just a sample of an Excel sheet. It is going to be almost the same thing as what you have on your e-learning. Where there is there is yellow as the background is where you're supposed to do your work. Don't add any column, don't delete, don't add anything, don't change anything. The way it is has been made easier for you so that you know the section that you're supposed to work on. The columns might not be the same as mine's, but I have highlighted the same thing on your e-learning. Don't go and change anything. Don't even delete, don't even add any column. There is no need of adding any column. It is not required. The questions will be there of what you're supposed to do, but today we're going to learn some few new things, like something called match and index functions. But let's begin with something. Everything which is going to be here doesn't mean it's going to be tested on your assignment, but it is necessary for you to know how it is done. So for example, you can be told to replace this hyphen on the student number with nothing. Remember, initially it used to be substitution. There is two ways you can use. You can use substitute function, or you can use replacing function. Substitute function, I already showed you how it works. Replacing function, it also works almost the same thing as substitute, but there are scenarios where replacing will work and substitution will not work. So let's say you've been told to replace the hyphen so that the number can read 34, 61, 58, just like that. You can go type in and at the end, but it doesn't make sense. You have to have function. I need to see those functions. So you come and say equals to replace, open bracket. Remember this time is A6, and you can see this A6. You click on it, that you put comma. You are replacing the third character, which is hyphen, third character. So you typed character 3. You must know which is the third character. Hyphen is which character? 1, 2, 3. Character 3. Put a comma, and you can see after comma you have number of characters to replace, just 1. You type 1. Put a comma. What are you replacing with? Nothing. You are replacing with nothing. So you type like that. That is what is called replacing with nothing. If you are replacing something, you have to put that something in between those parentheses, like replace with star, parentheses like that. But we are not replacing with star, we are replacing with nothing. Put them like that and you close. So with that, what is mean replacing? Replacing the third character with nothing. I'll show you a scenario where substitution might work and replacing works the same, but replacing can only work in certain scenarios where substitution cannot work. So that one replaces them like that, all of them. Let me enlarge so that you can be able to see. So let's say the same function, if you make mistake and say replace with true, what happens? You can see character number 3 and 4, which is 6, as hyphen and 6 have disappeared. If you replace with 4 characters, you can see they are reducing. So you replace with 1 character, the one you want to replace. Whatever you replace with, if you put star in between, remember the same thing works for substitution. It is going to work the same way. But why does the replacing function work in some scenarios where substitution does not work? This is the reason why. If you look at this, let's say you have another hyphen there which says 0, 5. Now you can see when we go and use substitution, substitute this with hyphen with the star. That is what we do. We use substitution, very easy. Substitute hyphen with a star. It substitutes everything. Everything is substituted. But let's say we want to substitute the first, let's say we want to substitute the second hyphen, this hyphen here. We want to substitute this. But let's say we want to substitute and leave this there. We want to substitute that and leave there. Then substitution will not work. It won't work. Here we come and use replace. Equals to replace, open bracket, A6, put up, which character is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Character number 8, substitute with what? With star. Only one character. Number of characters substitute is 1. Then we substitute with star. Now that one is only going to change the 8th character only. That's the reason why I'm telling you substitution and replacing function might work in some scenarios, but it might not work in all scenarios. So you have to be very careful. So that was just replace this. This is the that. Let's just go to what we were doing before and move with that. Move this. Replace function. Now, you see the way emails are created. Emails, especially for Daystar, they are created using the first name, the surname, and the student number without the hyphen at daystar.ac.ke. How do we create them? Like that. They use a function. So this function is going to create emails. So going to say equals. First of all, the emails are always in smaller numbers, but it doesn't matter whether it's a smaller number or a big number. It doesn't matter. Email will work. It doesn't matter whether the email is big or small, but you can make it small if you want. But the first, let's just create them the way they are. You say equals to B6 C6. Let me go back a little bit so that this is equal sign. We say B6 and C6. What does that give us? It gives us two names together. You have to start slowly. Don't go working on everything and then it fails. If you want to make them smaller, say lower. See that? Just put them in bracket and make them lower. Lower B6, C6. Just combining these two names, but in lower form. Then you test and see whether it works. The next thing you need to do is to put the student number. But this tutorial number, you have to work on it, or the way we have worked it. Then you put a comma, then you put unsigned. Actually, just leave about the comma, just put unsigned, because we are connecting two functions together. Say replace. Now you know how replace function works. Replace A6, comma, character number 3, comma, only one character, comma, with nothing. You keep on testing until you see it works. Don't just rush to do everything and then you find you have made mistakes. Then the last and sign is just to type at daystaruniversity.ac. So you put in parentheses at daystar.ac.ke, and that's how you create email address for Daystar. And you can create other emails address for any other place, just use that format. Simple, right? Very simple. Yes, Biose.
Mwalimu, there are times when you're putting in these functions, and at times it comes with it gives an option for correction. And when you try to
when you make a mistake.
Yeah.
When you make a mistake, definitely. For example, here you might I don't know where can we look, where do you have missed? Let's say here we have forgotten to put a parenthesis. It will come and it will cut. This is a very simple error. A simple error, the Excel will correct itself. You just say okay. But a major error, it will not be able to correct itself. For example, let's see whether this it can actually. That one, it is a major error. So a major error is going to, there's a problem with the formula, and then it's going to highlight on the section where there is a error.
Yes.
The section is highlighted.
So how do you go about it when you're there?
You just come here and put comma, simple, and it's done. It was missing comma, the comma which was there, it was missing. So you put it like that, you say okay, it puts highlight there, you come there and put a comma.
Okay, thank you.
That's all. Now let me show you a function that calculates weekdays. Now based on what? You can be given a dates on duty, like this person was on duty on this day, on this day, on this day, on this day, but we don't know which days of the week are they. Was it Monday? Was it Tuesday? And the reason why I'm telling you this, because last semester, I had a student, we went through these kind of functions, but that student works in a radio station. It's a communication student, works in a radio station, and in radio station they have to do programming for the next almost a month. They have to do programming for a month, and then this student sent me a program for the next 1 month, and he was not able to solve one simple problem of Excel because it came in Excel. They prepare programs in Excel from morning to the midnight for the next 1 month. And he told me, Manim, I can't be able to find out which days of the week are these. Like I have to go to the calendar, look at the days of the week, I type. I go and like which day was 21st of February 2024. I go to the calendar, check, I type. That one, it was a problem. Imagine it's a communication student who was struggling to find out how do I get the days of the week. And I told you there's a simpler way of doing that, using a function. And then we did that in 2 minutes, and he was really surprised that he was going to type for a whole month. 3 months in advance. So that's why I'm telling you some of these functions, you might be surprised where you'll find them. You might even work in health industry, you work in media industry, and you come across these things. You'll be surprised. So weekdays, how do we find the weekdays? Like, which days of the week was this person on duty? So we come here, we have a very simple function for weekdays, which is come and say equals to text. You'll be surprised how simple it is. Open bracket, it is on this day, F6, comma, then you put in parentheses D, another D, another D, another D, then you close. That is how simple it is to just find out which day was that. That day was on Tuesday, on 30th of January 2024 was on Tuesday. You can go on the calendar to confirm it was on Tuesday. Why do I have to put 4 Ds? Let's say, what happens when I put 2 Ds like that? It gives me the date of the month. Give me the date of the month. It was 30th day of the month. What happens when I put 1 D? Still give me the date of the month. What about when I put 3 of them? It gives me the day, but in short form. But when I put 4, gives me the day in full form. So don't be worried about what are these D's. They mean something. They are not just we are not typing them for fun. They mean something. So put it downwards like that. You can confirm from calendar these days were on this. It's automatically they were on these days. Now just imagine if you don't know. You go on calendar, you check 30th of January, you come and say Tuesday. 22nd of March, come Friday. God, imagine typing all that. It's very tedious. Now, I have a rate. The column next is for rate. Now, the rate, it is going to be calculating based on whatever the weekly plan is, weekly payment. If someone was working on a weekday, they are paid 4,500. Someone who was working on a weekend, they are paid 7,500. How do we calculate that and make sure that everybody gets their normal payment per the days they work? And that's actually how people who are working over the weekend, their charges are different, because that is it's regarded as an overtime. So you come here and say, this is why we use a function known as if and or. Remember last time we did if and. And I shared that video on YouTube. You can check it later. The one which was for the calculating the classifications, and the one for first class, second class. I already recorded it and shared on YouTube. Remember that one we were using if and. Remember it was like this: if, open, and. It was like that. But now we are going to use if and or. If and or. You open bracket, if and or this equals to. Now here this is where we have to be smart. Should we look at from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or do we choose Saturday and Sunday? Which one is easier? Do we go the long way or short way of choosing weekends? Weekends, there are only 2. Weekdays are 5. So we can either go long way of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or we can choose only 2 options, Saturday and Sunday. It is you to make that choice if you want. But I think the best option I'm giving you for ideas is you use the options that are shorter, Functions which are shorter, they save you time from going repeating and repeating and repeating. So we say if and or I6 equals to Saturday, put it in parentheses, comma, or I6. Remember this or, that's why it comes in. If I6 is equal to Saturday, or I6 equals to Sunday, close that bracket, and you say put comma, then we are someone is going to be paid whatever is in B4. But how do we present this B4? The B4, because of allowing not to jump, we use dollar signs. Say $sign B, $sign 4. That is B4. It's the same thing as say B4. But now, since we are doing arithmetic functions, you have to use $sign B, $sign 4. Put another comma. If someone is not getting paid that amount, then they are getting paid the other amount. Those who worked on Monday to Friday, they are getting paid the other amount, which is B3. I'm very sure you can see where the B3 is. So we come here and say, comma, $sign B, $sign 3. Close. Now you'll be able to see they have been able to select. When you type them B4, B3, it has selected itself. There's a reason why you have to use these dollar signs. Make sure you use them. Don't ignore them. If you don't use dollar sign, you're going to see a problem. Now, let's say we don't use the dollar sign. What problem are we going to see? If you type pollinate downwards like that, you can see it's working for Monday, Tuesday. Where do we get Saturday and Sunday? It comes to 75. Now, if you don't use dollar sign here, and you just get and say it's B4, and the other one is B3, it's straightforward. What is going to happen? The first one is going to work, but the next will not work. You can see the next will not work. It is giving things going down because it's pulling the data following that column. But we want it to get stuck in this section, only this section only. If you want data, if you want your data to get stuck in one place, you have to use the dollar signs. To lock, it's called locking. You lock it to those cells. Just lock it to those cells only. So that solves everything. Let's put it down, all of it, up to the end. Now, you come here and calculate years remaining out of 60. Years remaining out of 60. This is, let's say this person is supposed to retire at 60, but he has been working up to now. So from now up to 60 years old, when he's 60, how many years does he have to work? Some of these things, they look very interesting, but you might be working in a HR office and you'll be told, kindly give us how many years are remaining for our employees, and you have like 4,000 employees. Years remaining out of 60. For you, whatever you will calculate based on whatever you are given. Don't go calculate. You see the problem with people, they are going to copy my function exactly the way it is, and they go and use it without factoring out there is something here on top, out of 60. Years remaining out of 60. I know yours is not out of 60. Be careful. So, years remaining out of 60. You come and say, obviously we have going to say 60 minus because 60 is when someone is supposed to retire at this scenario. And then we want to calculate the years from now to 60. How many years are there? So you come and say there is a function which is used to calculate the years. You say minus int it's an int function. You can read further what it does, which returns a syntax number, but don't worry about what it does. Kindly just type int only. Int. Then after that, type year freak here, this one, year freak here. What does it do? It returns the year fraction representing the number of whole days between start date and end date. That is a function. Like that. Just double click on it like that. int open bracket year frac. Year frac. Just type it the way it is. Don't worry what it does. Don't ask questions. Those are functions in Excel, and they are going to remain like that. We can't change it to people who created the functions. We don't know why they call them year frac, so we just have to work with them with that. Year frac, we start with the start date. Start date is date of birth, when this person was born. So this is E6, comma, end date of, you don't put end date because we are calculating from since the person was born up to today. How many years are they? You see, that's what we have to calculate. We are minusing 60 minus the day that person was born up to today. How many years they have? So we say bracket, we close bracket. I know it might be confusing, but you see, this is very simple. We are going to minus out of 60 years. So if you want to know how long this person has before they retire, and they are going to retire at 60, we have to pick the days when they were born up to today, how many years they are. And this is what that function is doing. This part takes care of that. From when they were born up to now, how many years they have. So we're going to minus 60 minus the years they have covered. Then we close, because we already opened so many brackets here. You can see we open this and we open that. We have to close twice like that. Remember, I told you have to close until you see a black bracket. Since we are getting this in form of date, remember, it comes in form of date. You have to come here on top here. You see here there is the column shows date. You change it to general. I don't know whether someone has seen that. Since it is coming as a date, we go here on top of where there is number format and change it to general so that we can get a number. So this person has 21 years to work before they retire. Others, they have 8. Others have 16. that's after 26. That is how you calculate.
So could you repeat that part?
What?
It came in as the year. How did you change it into the day, into a specific like number?
You go here. There is a format. You change this date to general. That's all. Diana Shum.
Just a curiosity. If the person has exceeded 60, how will that data look like?
Well, that person should have retired by now. Because
will it show a negative number or what
it
will
will
happen?
show a negative. It will show a negative because in real sense they should have retired. Let's say this person was born. Let's push these days back to 55 and see what we get. You can see it gives us -8, meaning they have been on service 8 years. After the year should have retired, so they should not be working.
Thank you for that, Mwalimu.
Okay. Okay. We're moving swiftly. There's something called plotting chart. This plotting chart, it helps us to be able to know, and we are plotting this chart based on the contact hours. The contact hours are here. Contact hours. So a plotting chart, I'll show you it looks like. It's like a chart in Excel, which makes it look like a chart somehow. So you say equals to remember this one, it should be just a normal character. Equals to a plotting chart, you say REPT. What does it do? It repeats the text given number of times. You use rept to fill a cell with number of instances of a text string. Like for example, let's say we want to, I don't know whether people remember how, I don't know what, there's some way people used to put things together and band them in form of 10. I don't know what was it called. I've forgotten. You have is try to find you have to arrange things in tens like that. Put another 10, another band of 10, another band of 10, like that. That's what we want to come up with, but this time we are using a plotting chart. So we're going to say equals to okay, this keeps on jumping back to play B. Equals to REPT, open bracket. We're going to use, I don't know what this sign is. I don't know that sign is called what. What is that sign in the middle is called? It's not forward slash, it's not backward slash, it's just, do you call it standing slash? A slash. Yeah, just a slash. It's not forward, it's not backward. So just a slash. You put it like that, put a comma, and then the cell, which is D, I think it's D6, contact hours there, that's D6. D6. Like that. Now, this is how it's going to come. it's supposed to come exactly like this. It's supposed to be looking like that, and then you populate downwards like that. You can see it looks like a graph, but we are going to change this font. Change the font to a font known as Playbill. You type Playbill there, you're going to see Playbill here. Change the font to Playbill, then you populate downwards. Now you have a real good in chart in Excel. Remember, all things, what it takes is just this function only. Okay, that's it's all about the plotting chart. Let's now get to index and match. These are last functions. Okay. So we use match function. Now, when you're using match function, remember you have two tables. Remember, this is table 1, my table 2 is here. It's on a different spreadsheet. Your table 2 is not going to be on a different spreadsheet. It's going to be on the same worksheet. Now, this is where you have to place mat. If mine is on a different spreadsheet, my function is going to have an extra wording. Because yours is on the same worksheet, it's not going to have extra wording. So for match function, a match requires two tables, table 1 and table 2. So what you require to do is to match the student number in table 1 to match with the student number in table 2. Remember, there is the student number, they are unique identifiers. So you match the student number in table 1 to a student number in table 2. How do we do that? Please pay attention to this, but I'll tell you things that you don't need to do because obviously mine is on a different worksheet. So you're going to start equals to match. These are very simple functions. Open bracket. Match functions, they just work, they must have two tables. That is, there is nothing you can change. You must have two tables in match function. Open bracket, our student number is on A6. The first column, A6. A6. Now, on the you put a comma. On the sheet 2, it is in column A to A. So I'm going to type sheet 2, exclamation mark. That's how you present sheet 2, exclamation mark. You have to type whatever this sheet is called, sheet 2. Don't put a space. The way it is called, exclamation mark. A to A. Or you can actually do this. I can actually, when I reach there, I can come to sheet 2 and I select that. Only this A to A, not A to D, A to A. And you can see clearly it is on A to A. Sheet 2, A to A. So match function, sheet 2, A to A. This is how you present it. You put comma and you look, there are 3 options. Exact, match, less than or greater than. We put 0, which is exact match. 0. Then we close. Here we're going to get a number, which is 101. What does that 101 mean? It means this student number here, 34, 61, 58, it is in row 101 in the second table. Let's search and find. It's going to be in row 101. This is row 101. So this number which comes here, it's called matching the student number here on the second table. So it is going to be on row 101, and you can see it is there, 34, 61, 58. It's the same number here. Remember my function, it has sheet 2, exclamation mark. I don't expect your function to have something like that. Reason being, your worksheet is on the same sheet. It's not on different worksheets. Yes, Jemima?
So
Jemima,
for
you're
us
free
to
to
now,
add.
you see, yeah, I was asking for us now who, for another assignment you're giving us, but everything's gonna be on the same sheet. How would that be represented?
I have said I don't expect to see sheet 2 exclamation mark. Then now you know that what is going to be represented.
It will just be the A1210.
Yeah. You're just going to select it where it is. Actually, it will just go the same way I've gone here to select. You'll go on where your table 2 is and select it automatically. So I don't expect it to have, you don't even need to type this. When you reach here, you don't need to type. You go to where the table 2 is and select, and make sure you don't select, don't select A to D, change it to A to A, column A to A. You put comma, exact match, 0, and you close. The reason why mine is coming in the sheet 2 is because my table 2 is on sheet 2. But when table 2 is not on sheet 2, when you select, it doesn't put any sheet anywhere. You populate downwards. Then we're going to do index function on major. Remember, we don't have major here. The major is on sheet 2 here. We want to pull it from here to bring it on sheet 1 on this column. How do we do that? We're going to say equals to. One thing you need to know is that index does not work without match. You must work on match first. You cannot work on index without matching on working on match. Whatever I'm doing is already recorded. It's on my YouTube channel. You can watch, but I'm going to take you through. I'll share you the YouTube clip. Say equals to index, open bracket. From index you go direct to sheet 2, exclamation mark, because the column is B to B on sheet table 2. Then you put comma and you select what you have matched. That's why I was telling you index cannot work without match. You select M6 So you can't leave this blank and you come and select it. You select M6, whatever you matched, so that it can pull the major of that student. Then you close. It's going to pull the major of that, all the students. Remember, as I said, if your table it's on the same worksheet, I don't expect to see that. It should not be having that. It should be having the column where the major is on table 2. I don't expect to see sheet 2. If you are like on your work the way it is, you don't have sheet 2, so I expect something straight direct like this. But remember, it is not B to B. B to B here is something else. You'll know where which column has major in your table. Now, how do we put them together? Index and match can work together without separating. To pull out balances, remember these are balances on this table 2. To pull out balances, so you say equals to index match. You start with index. And remember, we are going to repeat the same thing we have done in the index and also in the match. Going to be index open bracket sheet 2 exclamation mark. This one is on C to C, comma. Now we're going to pick M6. We're going to say match. We're going to put index match function. Match. The local value is A6. Remember, it's repeating the same thing. If you have written down whatever you did in column M, you will find it's the same thing. A6, comma, sheet 2 exclamation mark A to A, comma 0, close. It's the same thing. We have combined to index and match together, but we have started with index. We start with index, we are finished with match. Just combining them together in another way, and then it pulls out the balances like that. All the balances are pulled. When you see a balance is negative, definitely it tells you someone has an overpayment. So that's how. Now the second last function to pull out the index numbers. This is a column for index numbers. This works out a little bit different. It's not the same thing as index match, but it's almost the same thing. It can work the same thing. So you're going to say equals to Vlookup, and you can come, it is there. Lookup value, it is A6. The unique identifier is on A6. Yours might be in A4, A2, I don't know. A6. Put a comma. Table array. Now when you're trying to look at the table array, you go to the second table and you're going to see which is sheet 2, and you select the whole thing. You can actually say sheet 2 A to D, sheet 2 A to D. That's what it means when you say A to D, means you have selected everything from here to here. Same thing like say from here. Remember, this is not selected, but just A to D. Put a comma. Column index number. Which number is index number? You count 1, 2, 3, 4. This time you don't put column D. We count 1, 2, 3, 4. When you ask column index number, it's column 4. You put a comma, appropriate match or exact match. Exact match. Sometimes exact match. Sometimes you see the word false, you think it is the opposite, but false mostly means exact match. And you close. Now, there's a mistake we have made a little bit. I think it's on this. We have typed so many sheet 2 here. We remove one. And then put S. So, why on your working this should not be there? It should be straight like that, because the column index number, they're in the same worksheet. So mine is there because mine is on a different worksheet. I was just showing you how to work with things which are on a different worksheet. So A to D, it is selecting the whole table A to D. Then number 4, it means column index. You know, the good thing with Excel, every time you are working on something, it is highlighted down here. If you come here, it will ask you for table array. Table array is for the whole table A to D. Then here it is just lookup value. Lookup value is where are you based on your argument, which is the unique identifier. Lookup value, unique identifier. And here you just say you are given 2 options. There is no difference. You just being column index number. I said you count columns 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that. The last function